Welcome back if you're not new, and just welcome if you're new. I'm painting today, or not today, but I've been painting and I made this painting. Yeah. I started out with a small canvas I got in a thrift store for very cheap. I got it for about 30 kroner, which is not a lot of money, but it's was still a decent canvas. It's it's double thick, so it's it's deeper. If you know, I'll show you later in the last part of the video when I show the finished painting. But yeah, I just started with some red and like kind of my idea. I didn't do a sketch or anything on paper, something like that. I just kind of went for it. But I already had kind of a plan, or at least some resemblance of a plan. But to be completely honest, I was like, I'm just gonna cover this up in red, and we're gonna see what happens. I think some car is coming. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna go inside my room and check. But I am no. There's not really anything here, which is weird. But yeah, I'm home alone because I just did my exam yesterday, which was awesome. But now it's just a normal day, and my parents, they aren't on break, summer break yet, and my little brother isn't on summer break yet. So it's just me at home. So yeah, I'm gonna do the voiceover, which I'm doing right now, of course, and I'm gonna do, you know, I also did the last, speaking about the finished product clip. So I just need to work out later, pick my little brother up, and then I'm home again. So yeah. But I really like this, like starting with red, because if I'm being honest, most of my paintings have the color red in them. Like I think all of my paintings actually have the color red in them at some point. And starting just with a red blob, which kind of looks like a face, makes it very easy to outline with black. It would, which would be where I put the shadows and the kind of darker parts of the face. So I think I got my technique down a little bit better. And of course, this time I had kind of a plan, so that probably also helps. See here, I'm doing like a cheek, hollowed out cheek thing, just to make it more visceral, more like comic book characters where they use very dark, deep dark saturation for their comic books, like for the drawings of the superheroes or the villains. They use very dark black saturation. At least they did at one point. I don't know if they do anymore, but the old comics usually had very deep black shadows. Yeah, so I start out with that too. I'm a little bit sad about the background, the yellow and the black, because the yellow and black looks cool, but some of the black kind of like connects a little bit too much to the face, but it ends up working out pretty good, if I'm being honest. So yeah, just hollowing out, really just doing the first few things. And as every painting starts off kind of unrecognizable. Like you have the general idea, and there's just some things you want to lay down, some quick colors and splotches and lines and stuff. And I do that a lot. I know I work very quickly compared to other people. I also work in acrylic, which is a kind of quicker medium, I would say, compared to, you know, oil paint. But I still think that, you know, just creating is the most important part. Just doing something, just getting started. Because with paint, you can always paint over. And sometimes you can paint over stuff even before it's completely done. And that's cool. That's just nice. Ugh. Yeah. I also slept in later today because I had to wake up early for my exam yesterday. But like I could sleep in like an hour later today, which was really nice. Hmm. Yeah. I'm just starting to build up the face here, and I'm getting better at doing, you know, understanding when a painting needs more light colors or more dark colors and stuff like that. So I think this one I really did well. with the experimentation of where to put dark and light colors and what to do. But this like head that has kind of devil horns, but not really devil horns, more like goat horns. But nobody like is to tell it that it's horns. It could just be a hat, but it's kind of the same color as the portrait's skin. So maybe it's not a hat. Maybe my character just has a weird head. That's also a thing. Like when it comes to painting, do whatever you want to do. To be honest, like that's the most important part. Just create whatever. I feel like this. And of course there is something to be inspired by other people, but there's also the point to not copy too much. Be inspired, but not copy. And if you copy, that's fine, but just don't claim stuff you copied as your own. Because like I see a lot of artists, to be honest, who are very inspired by Jean-Michel Basquiat. And he's a great artist. Basquiat was a great artist. And some beautiful art. And the reason they copy him, he was popular, he had money, and his art style isn't that complex. It is complex, but it's a lot of randomness and just chaos, which is cool and I love it. But there's a lot of people who realized, hey, I could probably do something very close to that, but just close enough to resemble Basquiat's art and just also far enough away from it. So if you're like, oh yeah, I'm not copying, I'm just inspired. But you know what I'm talking about. There's so many white young men, like literally people like me who probably are decent artists, but they choose to copy another and claim it as their own, which is weird, especially because most of Basquiat's art is about the black struggle, which is kind of important to the message, but it's weird stealing that, like a white man stealing a black man's art about his struggle. That's just weird. So like I like Basquiat, but I don't like the copies. You know, they just seem like bad imitations. But it's fine to be inspired. I'm inspired by Basquiat too. I'm inspired by other artists too. So there's a lot of inspiration going around. There's a lot of people who need inspiring, but there's not a lot of artists who inspire. That's also a problem. Because sometimes there's too much of people copying and very closely resembling other artists, and that's because they know people know and like this. I try to do my own thing, which is very hard. Mine is still definitely and heavily inspired by other artists, but still my own thing. But that's hard. If you can just copy someone or closely resemble someone who's already famous, why not do that? It's the cheat code, getting quicker ahead. But at some point you're going to realize that's not you. That's not your success. That's not your art. That's just weird shit, to be honest. So I'm just, that's just my opinion at least. But yeah. But everybody, of course, nobody's going to think of themselves as stealing from another artist. They're just inspired. So maybe you guys think that I steal too heavily from some dude I don't know or some dude I do know. Or a woman, of course. But like, I don't think I do. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. I really like this nose here, or really just the lack of a nose, which is really cool. I did a sketch on the train once. I think it's one of my videos. It's like I showed in one of my drawing videos, I did some sketches on the train. And I think it's really cool. The thing I just covered up the nose with this kind of weird shape like this one. Not exactly this one, but close to it. And I think like it has this sort of presence and sort of like weirdness to it, which I just love. It just sticks out, but it's still kind of, it seems like it's a part of the face, but also like something on top of it. It's just great. At least I think it's great. Yeah, I'm just walking around a bit because I can, since I'm home. Normally I use my car to do the voiceover. It's out in the courtyard, and I use the car to do my voiceover because it's quiet and there's not that much, you know, the sound is kind of good in there because there's not that much, room. So there's not echo or anything else weird. It's kind of close together in a nice way. So, yeah. But now I'm not using my car. I'm sitting in my parents' room right now on their bed. I'm sitting on their bed, So, because I just didn't want to sit in my room. I do that sometimes also. And sometimes I sit down in the, what is it called? Living room on the sofa, the couch. So, yeah. But here start with it's Naples yellow red. I'm pretty sure, but it's the color that's closest for me to a skin tone. It's closest to my skin tone because I'm very white, very pale. And I also think it's a great color because it's not too much of anything. And you can kind of layer it kind of flat, like layer it very deep and very you can also layer it very gray. So it has like multiple purpose applications. And I think it's really cool. But yeah, I just remember my focus points, which are the eyes and here the chin. Here I make this give it kind of a nice chin to have some sharp points in the painting, which is also important for my art. Know the shape language of your art. If you're trying to make something that's supposed to be cute or not threatening or anything, make something that's soft and round and no sharp corners or sharp features, because that's a characteristic of not necessarily scarier things, but it's more intimidating with sharper features in the face or sharper just sharp characters. A knife is sharp. That's scary. That's you could cut yourself. So with these more cute animals, usually puppy dogs are very very round and very cute. But if you take a porcupine, it's cute on the head, but the spikes are kind of scary because they're sharp. So there's a lot of that also, shape language in your paintings, but also whatever your hand feels like. Some people they have more flowy brush strokes, and some of us have more direct and kind of messy brush strokes. I'm definitely on the flowy part. I could probably be more flowy with my brush strokes, but I like where I'm at with it. It works for me. It works for the characters I'm trying to paint and the portraits I'm trying to make. Yeah, I also gave it one earring. I usually give my characters two, but I was I didn't feel like it, so I just gave it one. That's also asymmetry, important, but sometimes adding things to create not complete symmetry but closer symmetry is also important, because you can see here I have this part of the nose thing running out of the side, and to the other side I have the earring to build up stuff there, so the painting gets more filled out and more evenly balanced. But there's also something great about just asymmetry. At least it makes it more interesting, and kind of seems like it's off balance in a good way. It's more interesting to look at. At least I think so, and I think a lot of people also do think so. Yeah, just adding a little bit of a red line, and then I took back some of the red. I'm pretty sure, because I think it was a little bit too red, the nose area here. I wanted it to be dark, but still have that smidge of red. Also a little bit up here. So I usually go back and forth a lot in some places with black, and just to darken stuff up, or just completely make a black line or shape, because it does so much, just not removing everything, but removing things and creating very dark shadows and dark places. It makes very great contrast, and that's one of the most important things in my paintings, at least. That's contrast, because without any contrast my paintings would be very boring. I think. And most paintings would be, of course, depending on what you're painting and what type of feelings or type of story you're trying to portray in your paintings, there is maybe less or more necessary to have contrast. And sometimes you want something to be very dark. You do less contrast because then the colors seem darker. But if you want like a completely black background to seem even more black, you do lots of contrast. So there's kind of these different tricks to it. It's not kind of hard to explain, but not really. Yeah. Also, it's only 50 by 50, but I thought it was smaller, really. I thought this was like 30 by 30. But it's really small, this canvas, actually, 50 by 50. It's not, I just didn't think it was going to be that, size. I was like, okay, it's going to be 30 centimeters by 30 or something, 35. But no, this is like 50 by 50. Because I looked at it, like next to 100 by 100, I stacked my canvases, like, to each other. And the 100 by 100 is like 4 times bigger. And I'm like, oh yeah, math. Because if I have 4 canvases that's 50 by 50, and I put them, like, I lay them up flat, they're 100 by 100 canvases. Wow, this is stupid of me not realizing. But I really just felt like it would be a smaller canvas than it actually was, which was really weird. But, that's part of it. I'm just happy I got it for cheap. Also, the one last thing, really, just because you got a canvas cheaper than you normally would, you can't take different prices based on canvas price. You have to look at what a new canvas would cost, because that's just how it is. You can't look at, oh, I got this in a thrift store for 50 kroner when a new canvas actually would cost 200, because then that's just like not the point. Because if you want to make another drawing or another painting on the same size canvas, you would need 200 kroner if you want to do it now. If you knew you wanted to do it, not just because you got it randomly in a thrift store or something like that. So that's a part of it. If you want to like make sure you know how much you spend, but you kind of don't. I just have to make sure that I'm making money and stuff, and kind of looking at, okay, how much am I making after I taxes, because taxes are a huge part of it. Yeah. You see, the painting's nearly done, so hopefully you like this last part here where I explain the last few things. And yeah, I don't know any more to say, so like, subscribe, and yeah. Hello, you did it. You made it to the very end of this painting video, which is really nice. So, hi. Yeah, it's done. It's been done for, I think, I did it yesterday, but I didn't have time. It was kind of late, so yeah. It's double thickness because that's just the one I got. So this is my signature, of course. And there's someone named AC, which I don't know what it stands for, but AC did it in 2003. So it's pretty cool. I don't want to bash on this guy's painting he did before, but I'm happy that someone donated the canvas to a thrift store, because like it's not too stretchy and it's not bad. It's not perfect, but for 30 kroner, which is very cheap for a canvas of this size and just general quality, it's pretty nice. So yeah, I really like the black of a nose here. There's just this hole. I think that's cool. I just felt like it in the teeth. It's pretty nice. Chin here and just all this. I think it's pretty great. I like the background color. I don't know if I'm gonna do exactly with the black again, because as you probably can see, some of it kind of mixes in with the painting, which is cool, but some of it also like just fills up the painting, if it makes sense. But yeah, I think this guy is really awesome. I love the eyes. I'm definitely gonna do eyes like that again. He looks he looks a little bit high because he has like red, very swollen red eyes. Like that a lot. Kind of like a rib cage here, very cool. Just great. It's just a great painting, really. Yeah. It took me some time, but not anything insane. I did it pretty quickly, I would say. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a nice piece. It's a nice canvas. And yeah. The good thing also about making smaller paintings is, of course, like this is the type of stuff people can actually buy, like more easily. It's like having a canvas that's like huge. It's gonna be expensive to ship and also just expensive in general. But having a painting, which is smaller, portable, I can send this in a package. It's like much better. Of course, it would need support and shipping paper and stuff. But still, the point is, it's much easier to ship and it's cheaper because it took less time, less paint, and yeah, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know anything more to say. Cool stripes, yeah. But anyway, I want to say thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, all that stuff because I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you for watching. Bye bye.